Over the years, I've had lots of comments asking me to do some videos about how to sail single-handed. The problem with this is that the tricky bits are difficult to video, as at that time I'm fully occupied and I haven't really got hands or attention spare. But the other day I had Bill and friend Will on board, so I gave them a camera each and we tried to video me handling Zephyr 4 by myself, and here's how it turned out. Today we're going to show you how I go about sailing single-handed. The interesting thing is I've got two cameramen with me, so I'm going to be busier than ever because I've got to keep them under control as well as me. I have a checklist stuck on the bulkhead, and generally that keeps me on track. Your checklist might well be different, but it is important to have everything checked, switched on or in the right place before you go on deck and get ready to leave. My checklist is in an ideal order. For example, I like to have the engine running before I start the instruments and autopilot. Starting the engine can put a spike down the 12-volt line and lock up the instruments. That's the voice of experience here. Part of my checklist includes starting the engine, so off I go to do that. I'm going to turn the instruments on. It pays not to turn the instruments on before you start the engine. Yes. So, Marina, and turn the sharp bottom. We've got 8 knots, 9 knots of wind, and sharp lights coming up. It's okay to continue, and that's now showing me where we are in Osborne. See, the AIS is found the GPS signal, so that's working okay, and we're receiving AIS signals and also transmitting them as well. The big problem with sailing by yourself is you've got all these lines to undo and cast away, and the boat's going to drift away. So there's an easy way of stopping that. We have a central cleat here, which is very conveniently placed against this cleat down here. So we're going to tie the two together. Right, so if I now haul on this rope, we've got two fenders here, one either side, so the boat's not going to go anywhere until we need it. So I can get rid of the rest of the lines, and the boat will pretty much stay here until the very last minute, which is the idea. Zephyr 4 is, we've got mooring lines permanently attached to this pontoon, so I'm going to drop those off from the boat. If I was somewhere else, then I'd just be coiling the ropes up, dropping them on the deck before we backed out. So I'll just get rid of the ropes now. The mooring lines.
Stop that.
Right, as you can see, we're now just being held by this central rope. Get rid of the step. You go there. All I've got to do now is undo that, hop aboard and reverse out. Line off, just getting the boat approximately where I want it. We're just meandering slowly to an area just outside the marina where I can jill. I can leave the boat just drift a little bit while I get the fenders in, and then we can sort out putting the mainsail on. The autopilot down here is going to be a real benefit because I'll be able to get the boat going in very slowly, and it'll maintain the course that I give it. At the moment the wind's pretty much in our faces, so I'm just going to knock the boat out of gear and she'll just drift, and now I can nip over there and bring the fenders in and tidy up the warps and stuff like that, and then we can think about raising the mainsail.
Up until now, I have been able to keep a close watch on the boat and surroundings. I could coil a mooring line and still maintain a good watch. But removing fenders is one of those actions where your eyes are looking down, and that is a potential danger. You'll notice I use these simple nylon hooks to clip the fender lines to the guardrails, and that minimises the time my eyes are looking down. I also remove the fenders and drop them quickly into the cockpit, and then stand in the cockpit by the wheel as I tie each fender to the push bit. I am considering fitting fender baskets to the push bit, which would mean I wouldn't even have to tie them to the rail. Time to hoist the mainsail. On Zephyr 4 and a lot of boats, you can only hoist the mainsail with the boat head to wind. This keeps the sail clear between the lazy jacks and reduces the friction of the sail slides in the groove on the mast. So here I am gradually bringing Zephyr 4 into the wind, and then I can haul on the halyard to raise the sail. I can get the sail over halfway up before I run out of steam, and then I have to use the winch to finish the job off. My E-Wincher electric winch handle makes it so much easier and saves my poor old 82-year-old arms. Once I get the mainsail up, I motor out of the harbour. It gets pretty bouncy around the harbour mouth, so the sail helps to drive the boat, but also helps to stop her rolling in the confused swell that you find there.
We're out of the harbour now. We're almost on the beam, and I'm just going to put the autopilot on. We couldn't do this without the autopilot. Put the autopilot on, and that will hold Zephyr 4, of course, alongside the coast here, and I'll be able to adjust the main, and we'll get the jetty up as well. I'm heading towards Osborne Bay, just on the north coast of the Isle of Wight. Nice anchorage there, and I'm going to anchor and show you how I do that. It's really not that difficult. I'm getting close to the spot where I've chosen to anchor, so it's time to furl the genoa so I have a clear deck to work on when freeing the anchor.
I release the anchor and get it set up for a quick drop. I'm going to do this under sail. I've got lots of room, no chance of bumping into anybody. The wind is from the east and so is the tide, so I can just round up, head to wind, so the main flaps, and then nip up to the bow, ready to drop the anchor. I've dropped the anchor a little way into the water now, so I can see the forward motion of the boat. As soon as she stops going through the water, I start letting out chain. Quickly to begin with to get the anchor onto the bottom, and then more slowly as the anchor holds and I can see the chain being stretched out. We're in quite shallow water, but I let plenty of chain out to be sure. And then stand on the deck and watch points on the shore to check that we are not dragging. That looks okay, so now I can get the flapping mainsail down and tuck in the reefing line.
Done.
We had a bit of lunch while we were anchored, good old Cornish pasty, heated in the oven. It was getting pretty windy while we were anchored, gusting up to 25 knots, so I decided that when I hoisted the mainsail to leave, I'd put a reef in it. Bit of a faff, but I knew it would make life a lot more comfortable sailing back to Gosport. Notice the main sheet was loose, so the mainsail was flapping. I really don't want it driving the boat with the anchor down. Now to raise the anchor. I try to be kind to my electric windlass. I haul in the catenary and then wait for the boat to move forward to create another catenary, and then haul that one in, and so on. As soon as the windlass is taking strain, I just wait for the boat to move forward and slacken the chain. Eventually you have to wind the rest of the chain in and bring the anchor to the surface and onto the bow roller. Now quickly get to the helm and trim the mainsail, get the boat underway and on a course back home. Once she's settled, I can unfurl the genoa. Don't think because I dropped the anchor under sail that you have to too. Conditions were perfect, so it seemed unnecessary to start the engine. Normally in a harbour I would proceed under engine, lower the sails, get the anchor ready in a quiet area, then at the anchorage pick my spot, aim into the wind or the tide, take the engine out of gear, nip to the bow, wait for the boat to stop, and then start dropping the anchor and let more chain out as the boat drifts back, which lays out the chain on the bottom. Similarly, when leaving, I would start the engine, nip to the bow and retrieve the anchor before returning to the cockpit and motoring away. Unless it's very windy, most boats drift quite slowly and there is enough time to get to the engine controls without drama. Returning to the Marina, I usually deploy the fenders and mooring lines as I motor up the harbour under autopilot, or in a quiet area with minimum boat movements, and then I've just got to worry about getting the boat alongside. This doesn't always go according to plan. Don't panic, reverse out, collect your thoughts and have another go. I was fazed by the visiting French boat alongside with its very wide and sharp looking stern. There really wasn't much room. Again, I use the central line to hold the boat in place while I retrieve the mooring lines, and that's it. Safely home. I hope this has been of some help. Starting single-handed can be quite daunting. Think it through beforehand. Work out where you'll attend to fenders and mooring lines, where you'll raise your sails, how will you get the boat to steer and look after herself. An autopilot is good, but just being able to lock the helm in one position might be enough, especially with a long keel boat. I'm happy to do more videos in the future about sailing single-handed, so do let me know in the comments which bit worries you the most about solo sailing, and I'll try and show you what I do. As always, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. It really does help to promote the channel. Do enjoy your sailing.